We've all been there, right? Caught in that swirling internal vortex of worry. That feeling that just grips you, pulls you deeper no matter what you try.
Yeah, it really clings on.
It's that invisible knot in your stomach, the racing thoughts that just won't stop, the sense that everything is just, well, too much.
Overwhelming. Completely.
And you hear it all the time, don't you? That this feeling, this modern anxiety, it's new, it's unprecedented, unique to our times.
Right, like it's some kind of modern invention.
But what if the solutions, the real solutions to our deepest anxieties are actually, ancient, surprisingly simple?
Yeah, and maybe closer than we think.
Exactly. What if Seneca, that old Stoic philosopher, was right centuries ago when he said, we suffer more from imagination than from reality?
That's such a profound point. It really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? And so much of our discomfort isn't about the actual things happening, but how we, interpret them, how we think about them.
The stories we tell ourselves.
Precisely. The battle often starts and ends right there, inside our own minds.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what we're diving into today. Our mission here is to cut through all the noise. Go beyond the usual advice.
Get to the practical stuff.
Yeah, we want to give you a unique playbook, really, for anxiety relief. We're digging up some unexpected but seriously powerful tools to help you feel calm, feel grounded, like right now, today.
And we're drawing on a real mix of wisdom, aren't we? Ancient stuff like Stoic philosophy, but also the latest cutting-edge neuroscience.
Right. So by the end of this deep dive, you won't just have a list of techniques. You'll have practical strategies you can use immediately, but also, crucially, a deeper sense of why they actually work.
Empowering you, hopefully, to navigate life's ups and downs with a bit more ease, a bit more inner strength.
Okay, so let's jump in. Let's unpack these unexpected tools. First up, anchoring in the present. When anxiety really takes hold, it feels like it just yanks us into this internal chaos, doesn't it?
Totally. Your mind's spinning with what-ifs or replaying things, and the world around you just fades out.
Yeah, everything feels blurry, confusing, maybe even a little unreal.
Disconnected.
And that's exactly where grounding techniques come in. They're like throwing out an anchor.
A way to steady the ship.
Yeah, they give you this immediate solid foundation. You deliberately shift your focus away from that internal storm.
And onto the concrete, real things in your environment.
It's like physically pulling yourself back.
Yeah.
Back to the here and now.
And it's so effective because anxiety really thrives on that internal spiral, right? The endless looping thoughts, the brain scanning for threats that aren't actually there in the room with you. So when you consciously engage your senses with the outside world, you're basically hitting pause on that loop.
You're redirecting your brain's attention.
Exactly. Away from the abstract worry and towards immediate, tangible, sensory stuff. And that sends a powerful signal to your nervous system.
What kind of signal?
Signal that says, hey, you're actually safe. Right here, right now, in this environment. It counters the perceived danger in your mind.
I love that. And the great thing is, you don't have to wait for a full-blown panic attack.
Yeah. Oh, definitely not. They are incredibly powerful in those high anxiety moments, for sure. Like before a big presentation or maybe on a bumpy flight.
Or in a super crowded mall when you feel that sort of suffocating feeling start.
Yes. Absolutely critical then. But the real magic, I think, happens when you weave them into your everyday life. Proactively.
I mean, like little things.
Tiny things. Intentionally feeling the warmth of your coffee mug in the morning, really tasting your dinner instead of just wolfing it down.
Or maybe even just noticing your feet on the floor during a meeting if you start feeling restless.
Perfect example. Or when you're facing a mountain of chores that feels overwhelming. These small moments of sensory awareness, done regularly, don't just fight current stress, they actually build your resilience over time.
Ah, so it's like strengthening a muscle.
Precisely. It's proactive mental hygiene. By doing it when you're calm, you're strengthening those neural pathways for peace and presence.
So the techniques become easier to access when you really need them.
Exactly. More automatic. Less effort required when you're actually in distress. It builds that cognitive muscle memory.
Okay, so let's get specific. One of the most well-known, super accessible methods is the 5-4-3-2-1 exercise. Simple, but really effective.
It really is. The mechanics are brilliantly simple. It just systematically uses all 5 senses to pull you back.
Okay, walk us through it. How does it work?
You intentionally name specific things you perceive around you, starting with sight.
Right. So first find 5 things you can see. And don't just list them in your head. Really look at them.
Describe them to yourself, even silently. What's the color, the shape? Can you see the texture from here?
Like that blue pen, the way the light hits that picture frame, the grain on the wooden table?
Yep.
Okay, 5 things. Got it. What's next?
Next, 4 things you can touch. Actively feel them.
Okay, so the fabric of my shirt, the smooth, cool surface of my desk, maybe the slightly rough texture of the chair arm, the weight of my phone in my hand. 4.
Ooh, good. Then, 3 things you can hear. This might take a moment of quiet listening. Tune in.
Okay. I can hear the computer fan humming.
Yeah.
Distant traffic outside. Maybe my own breathing, actually. 3.
Perfect. Now, 2 things you can smell. What scents are around you right now?
Let's see. Maybe a faint whiff of coffee still.
Or
Or just the sort of neutral smell of the room air. 2.
And finally, 1 thing you can taste.
Okay. Could be a sip of water, maybe the lingering taste of toothpaste, or just noticing the natural taste in my mouth. Done.
And see, in doing that, you've forced your attention outwards. It instantly refocuses you, disrupts those racing
Oh,
thoughts.
it pulls you right back into your physical reality through your senses.
Exactly. And the beauty is you need absolutely nothing special to do it. Just your own senses. Anytime, anywhere.
And that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it's really just a starting point, isn't it? There are other ways to use our senses.
Oh, loads. You can do similar things more subtly, like just mentally describing your surroundings.
But silently narrating.
Yeah. Okay, there's that green plant. The window needs cleaning. I smell rain. Just running a commentary on the external details.
That intentional focus, shifting from the internal chaos to the external details, it really does dial down the anxiety, doesn't it?
It does. It uses up that mental bandwidth that was fueling the worry. Gives your mind a concrete, manageable task.
Another really powerful one, and maybe a bit overlooked, is just feeling your feet on the ground.
So simple but profound.
Whether you're sitting or standing, just take a second. Press your feet down. Feel that solid connection. Notice the pressure, the texture if you're barefoot.
And if you can, actually putting bare feet on grass or earth, that takes it deeper.
You mean that whole earthing idea?
Yeah, the concept that direct contact with the earth might help balance our body's electrical state. The science is still emerging, but anecdotally, many people find it incredibly grounding.
There's something really primal and reassuring about it, isn't there? Feeling connected to the earth, stable.
It absolutely taps into an ancient, instinctive sense of safety. Solid ground equals security in our evolutionary wiring, so consciously connecting sends that safety signal straight to the brain.
And sticking with physical connections. Focusing on a specific object. Tactile grounding. This is where it gets really personal and interesting, right?
Definitely. Because the unexpected comfort you can get from just holding a particular object can be huge.
How does that work?
It engages your sense of touch, pulls you back from those runaway thoughts, and it can be literally anything. A soft blanket, a smooth stone you found, a piece of jewelry.
A stress ball, maybe?
Sure. We've heard so many great examples from people. Some carry those little spiky massage balls in their pockets. The texture is an instant jolt back to the present.
Oh, interesting.
Others use smooth beach stones or Rudraksha beads on a bracelet. Fidget rings are popular too.
I've seen those.
Even small magnets are cool, smooth, and the clicking sound can be really focusing.
Right.
Or just a soft piece of fabric like a silk ribbon.
Wow, so many possibilities. It makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What seemingly ordinary thing could become your personal anchor? Something you could keep handy.
Exactly. It's about finding what works uniquely for you, something discreet and accessible.
And sometimes you need something a bit more intense, a bit of a jolt to the system.
Yeah, that brings us to using temperature or taste. Holding an ice cube over the sink, letting it melt, that sharp cold can snap you right back.
Or focusing intensely on a strong flavor.
Right, like a piece of really dark chocolate melting slowly, or a super sour candy, even a sip of very cold water. If you really pay attention to the sensation, it cuts through the mental noise.
Demands your attention.
And we absolutely cannot forget scent. Smell is so powerful for grounding.
Why is that? Is it the memory connection?
It's directly linked to the limbic system, the emotional center of the brain. So scents can bypass conscious thought and hit you on a deep emotional level really fast.
So carrying essential oils like lavender.
Or peppermint, yeah. Or even a little sachet of dried herbs. Your favorite perfume, the smell of rain on pavement. These can be instant sensory resets.
It's amazing how these everyday sensory details, things we usually ignore, can become such potent tools.
That's the key takeaway here, isn't it? It's not about finding some magic cure. It's about consciously, deliberately tuning in to the sensory information that's always available to us.
And in doing that, we're not just distracting ourselves.
No, not at all. We're actively talking to our nervous system in its own language, sending signals of safety, of presence, telling it the threat isn't here right now.
Shifting us out of that fight or flight mode.
Exactly, into a state of greater calm. It's really quite an elegant, embodied approach.
Okay, so anchoring with our senses is incredibly powerful for pulling us back to the present. But let's be real, anxiety isn't just about the external world, is it?
Not at all. So much of it is rooted internally, in our thoughts, our beliefs, the stories we tell ourselves in our heads.
That internal narrative.
Precisely.
Mm.
So now let's shift focus. Let's move from using our external senses to using the mind's own amazing tool strategies to directly engage with and reshape that inner world.
Because our minds are powerful, but we can direct them, right?
Yeah.
We're not just passengers.
Absolutely. We have the capacity to choose how we relate to our thoughts and emotions. We can shift from being reactive, where thoughts control us, to being more intentional, guiding our thoughts.
So where do we start with these inner tools? A big one is mindfulness meditation, right?
Foundational, really. At its core, mindfulness is just about being fully present. Observing what's happening, thoughts, feelings, sensations, the world around you without judgment.
It's not about emptying your mind then. That's a common myth.
Definitely not. It's about noticing what's already there, but with a kind of gentle, non-reactive awareness, like watching clouds drift by.
You don't need hours, right? Even short bursts can help.
Absolutely. Guided meditations, even apps with quick panic SOS type tracks for intense moments can really help guide you back to center. But the real benefit comes from consistent daily practice.
Even just 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah. That consistency builds a calmer, more resilient mind over time. It strengthens your ability to observe thoughts without getting swept away by them.
It creates a bit of distance. You have thoughts, but you are not your thoughts.
Exactly that. That distance is crucial for breaking those sticky, anxious thought loops.
Okay, what about affirmations and visualization? How do they fit in?
These tap into the mind's power in a different way. Simple affirmations, gentle reminders like, I am safe, or this feeling will pass, or I can handle this, can be surprisingly calming during acute anxiety.
Like a little supportive voice in your head.
But here's the crucial part. They work best when you practice them regularly, even when you're feeling good.
Why is that?
Because your mind gets used to hearing them. It starts associating those phrases with a calm, secure state. So when you do need them under pressure, those neural pathways are already strong and accessible. They land better.
Makes sense. And visualization, creating a safe place in your mind.
Yes. This builds on that idea of intentional mental training. You create a detailed, vivid mental sanctuary.
Like a beach or a forest.
Could be anywhere. A childhood memory, a cozy room, even a completely imaginary world. The key is to really world build it when you're feeling relaxed.
Engage all the senses in your imagination.
Exactly. What does it look, sound, feel, even smell like? The more vivid and detailed you make it during calm times, the more powerful and immediate it becomes as a mental escape route when anxiety spikes. It's your portable inner haven.
Like an internal emergency calm button. I like that. Okay, now what about leaning on older wisdom? You mentioned the Stoics earlier.
Yes. This is fascinating because these ancient thinkers developed a whole system, a kind of timeless playbook for the mind that directly addresses how we perceive anxiety. Not just reacting, but fundamentally changing our relationship with it.
Building inner resilience.
Precisely. The Stoics understood that our suffering often comes less from events themselves and more from our judgments about those events, our interpretations.
That's a powerful shift in perspective. Puts the control back inside us.
It really does. Let's look at one of their techniques. Name your monster. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor philosopher, he really pushed this idea. Define what's overwhelming you, trace its outline.
See what it really is, its substance. Stripped bare. That was his phrase, wasn't it?
Exactly. He'd apparently look at his fancy purple robe and call it just sheep wool dyed with shellfish blood to kind of demystify it, bring it down to earth when feeling weighed down by his role.
So the idea is that to cut through our exaggerated fears, rip off monster's mask.
Yes. See it for what it is, an emotion, a thought, a specific circumstance, not some huge, terrifying unknown.
And incredibly, modern science actually backs this up, doesn't it?
It does. fMRI studies show that just the act of naming an emotion, putting a label on it, literally calms down the brain's emotional alarm center, the amygdala.
Wow.
And at the same time, it boosts activity in the prefrontal cortex, the part involved in cognitive control. So you're hitting the emotional brakes and engaging your thinking brain just by naming the feeling.
So instead of just feeling this vague dread, you say, okay, this is worry about the presentation, or this is frustration about that comment.
You shine a light on it, define it. It makes it less overwhelming, more manageable. It loses some of its power.
Okay, another cornerstone of Stoicism.
Yeah.
Focus on the present moment.
Absolutely central. Marcus Aurelius wrote this during times of plague and war, incredibly stressful times. His advice: don't let your reflection on the whole sweep of life crush you. Don't fill your mind with all the bad things that might still happen. Stay focused on the present situation.
Because anxiety lives in the past, regrets, or the future worries.
Exactly. It rarely lives in the actual present moment. So this principle is about being fully here now, giving your undivided attention to what's right in front of you, the task, the conversation, your breath.
We miss so much by constantly chasing what's next or dwelling on what's past.
We really do. Which leads beautifully into another crucial Stoic practice. Put your impressions to the test.
What does that mean, impressions?
Basically, your initial thoughts, feelings, or judgments about something. Epictetus, another great Stoic, advised, first off, don't let the force of the impression carry you away. Say to it, hold up a bit and let me see who you are. Let me put you to the test.
So when an anxious thought pops up, don't just accept it.
Pause. Question it. Ask, is this actually true? Is this objective reality, or is it just my interpretation?
That's huge.
Yeah.
Because honestly, most anxious thoughts aren't 100% factual, are they? They're often exaggerations or worst-case scenarios.
Very often, you might feel furious, but when you test it, maybe you realize you're just tired or hungry, not genuinely wronged. This practice teaches you to slow down, inject that critical pause, and check the validity of your thoughts before they hijack your emotions.
Instead of letting them run the show.
Exactly. And very related is learning to assess your wants. Epictetus asked this penetrating question. When I see an anxious person, I ask myself, what do they want? For if a person wasn't wanting something outside of their own control, why would they be stricken by anxiety?
Oof, that hits home. So much anxiety comes from wanting things we just can't control, right?
Absolutely. Wanting the world to be perfectly safe, wanting traffic to disappear, wanting everyone to like us. Recognizing the futility of wanting what's outside our control is a massive step towards letting go of the anxiety attached to it.
It's about understanding the difference between what you can influence and what you simply can't.
Yes. It forces you to ask, is worrying about this actually doing anything useful? And often the honest answer is a liberating no.
Okay, one more Stoic technique, and this one sounds a bit counterintuitive at first. Practice negative visualization. Premeditatio malorum.
Right. And it's crucial to understand this isn't about making yourself worry more. It's the opposite. It's about eliminating worry.
How does that work? Thinking about bad things to feel less worried.
By calmly, rationally considering worst-case realistic scenarios, losing a job, facing illness, a relationship ending, you're not inviting them. You're becoming mentally prepared. Seneca said, what is quite unlooked for is more crushing. Suddenness makes disaster worse.
So by imagining challenges beforehand, you fortify yourself.
Exactly. You rehearse resilience, you build a psychological buffer, you're ready for different outcomes, and paradoxically, that preparation frees you up to enjoy the present more fully without that constant nagging fear of being blindsided.
You've already faced the shadows in your mind, so they have less power.
That's it. And what's truly remarkable is how these ancient ideas resonate so strongly with modern psychology. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If so much suffering comes from our imagination.
How much power do we have to reimagine our reality, to change those internal stories?
It highlights the incredible impact of where we choose to put our mental focus.
So we've covered grounding through senses and reframing our thoughts. But anxiety isn't just in the head, is it? It's deeply physical.
Oh, absolutely. That tension in your shoulders, the shallow breathing, the butterflies or knots in your stomach, maybe restless legs. It's a full body experience.
Our bodies hold so much stress, so much unprocessed stuff.
They really do. The body keeps the score, as they say. So in this next part, let's talk about somatic exercises, working directly with the body, and also neuroplasticity, how we can actually retrain our brain's responses.
Because the physical symptoms aren't just side effects, right? They feed back into the anxiety.
Exactly. It's a loop. Physical tension signals danger to the brain, which creates more anxious thoughts, which creates more tension. Somatic practices and to break that cycle directly through the body.
Okay, so what are some effective Somatic exercises. Let's start simple. Breathing exercises.
The most fundamental tool, and often underestimated, gentle, intentional breathing is like a direct line to your nervous system.
How so?
Deep breaths, especially longer exhales, signal safety. They activate the rest and digest part of your nervous system, counteracting the fight-or-flight. Techniques like square breathing.
In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4.
Right, or the 4-7-8 breath, in for 4, hold for 7, out slowly for 8. These literally change your physiology. They lower heart rate, ease chest tightness, improve focus. It's telling your body, it's okay to relax now.
It's like a physiological reset button.
Pretty much. Our breath is the remote control for our vagus nerve, a key player in calming us down. Consciously controlling the breath gives us direct influence over our internal state.
Okay, what else? I've heard of something called the self-hug or butterfly hug.
Yes, it's wonderfully simple and comforting. You just cross your arms over your chest, hands on opposite shoulders or upper arms.
Like giving yourself a hug.
Exactly. And then you gently, alternately tap each hand, left, right, left, right.
Why the tapping?
That rhythmic bilateral stimulation is incredibly soothing to the nervous system. It mimics being held or rocked, creating a sense of safety and containment. It's a really lovely act of self-soothing you can do anywhere.
That sounds surprisingly powerful. Okay, what about completing stress responses? That sounds intriguing.
It is. Think about it. Evolutionarily, stress meant fight or flight physical action. Today, we often freeze or suppress those impulses.
So the energy gets stuck.
Kind of, yeah. That mobilized energy doesn't get discharged. This technique involves allowing gentle, instinctual movements, maybe shaking out your hands, tapping your feet, gently swaying, even allowing a little tremble.
Letting the body do what it naturally wants to do.
Yes, to release that stored tension. It helps the nervous system complete the cycle and return to baseline, preventing that chronic buildup of stress, like letting steam out of a valve.
Okay, that makes sense. And a classic one. Progressive muscle relaxation.
Still incredibly effective. The basic idea is simple. Tense a muscle group, hold it, really feel the tension, and then completely release it, noticing the difference.
Like clenching and unclenching your fists.
Perfect example. Clench tight for a few seconds, feel that tension, then let it all go. Feel the release, the warmth, the looseness. You can do this systematically through your whole body, toes, calves, thighs, stomach, arms, shoulders, face.
What's the main benefit there?
It dramatically increases your awareness of where you hold tension, your interoception, and it gives you a direct physical way to signal relaxation to your entire system. Plus, it teaches you to recognize tension before it gets overwhelming.
Building that body awareness. Okay,
Yeah.
and you mentioned relaxing showers or baths with a caveat.
Yes, the caveat is important. Probably best after the peak of an anxiety attack is passed, not during, as the stimulation might be too much for some. But for general anxiety or winding down, focusing on the sensations, the warm water, the smell of the soap, the texture can be a wonderful sensory anchor.
Using the water and scents to ground yourself again.
Exactly. Okay, so those are some somatic tools. Now, let's talk neuroplasticity. This is the brain's amazing ability to change and rewire itself based on experience.
Which means we're not stuck with anxious patterns.
Absolutely not. We can actively train our brains to be less reactive and more resilient. It's incredibly empowering.
So how do we do that? How do we leverage neuroplasticity?
One powerful exercise is cultivating a calm core. This focuses on calming the body first, knowing that physical tension often triggers mental anxiety.
Like using that 4-8 breath we talked about.
Yes, perhaps breathing in for 4, out for 8. And while you do it, visualize your mind like a cloudy pond. With each slow exhale, imagine the sediment settling, the water becoming clearer and calmer.
So you're directly engaging the rest and digest system and using visualization to reinforce it.
Precisely. You're breaking the physical tension anxiety loop at the source. Rick Hansen talks a lot about how anxiety often starts physically. Calming the body first interrupts that cascade.
Building that fundamental resilience. Okay, what else?
Building a sense of strength. Anxiety often makes us feel weak or helpless,
Right.
overwhelmed.
So this exercise counters that. You actively recall times you did feel strong, capable, resilient, maybe finishing a tough project, getting through a hard time, standing up for yourself.
And you really relive it.
Yes. Remember the details, how it felt in your body, the posture you held. You're tapping into your own history of competence.
Reminding yourself you have been strong before.
Exactly. Most of us underestimate our own strength. Consciously recalling and internalizing these moments builds genuine confidence and resourcefulness for facing current challenges.
That's powerful. Okay, next.
Recognizing protections and resources. Our brains are wired to scan for threats negativity bias. This exercise flips that.
You consciously focus on what is safe and supportive in your life right now. Loved ones, friends, a safe home, nature, your own skills, financial reserves, whatever brings a sense of security.
So you're actively countering the brain's default danger scan mode.
Yes. You're training it to notice safety and resources, which calms the amygdala, that alarm center, and builds a foundation of reassurance.
I like that. What about internalizing relief and reassurance?
This is about savoring the good stuff, specifically when worries don't come true. That feared meeting that went fine, that trip you dreaded that was actually great.
You mean really pause and soak in the feeling of relief?
Exactly. Relive that sense of, hey, that wasn't so bad after all. This trains your brain to focus on safety and positive outcomes, building a mental safe ground you can return to. It counters the habit of only remembering the bad predictions.
Learning from the times things didn't go wrong.
Okay.
And reducing paper tiger paranoia.
Our brains tend to exaggerate threats, right? Turning small worries into huge, scary tigers that are actually made of paper. This is about challenging those exaggerations.
Asking, is this threat really as big and dangerous as my mind is making it out to be?
Precisely. Learning to distinguish real threats from imagined or inflated ones saves enormous mental energy and reduces needless stress, cultivates clarity.
And then there's simply feeling all right now.
Yes. Grounding yourself in the present moment by acknowledging basic safety and okayness. In this exact moment, I am breathing. I am physically safe. My body is here.
Even if there are problems looming later.
Even then, it anchors you in the reality of the present, countering anxiety's tendency to constantly project fear into the future. It lets your nervous system register that right now, fundamentally, you're okay.
For anxieties about actual problems, though,
Yeah.
taking constructive action.
Yes. Break down overwhelming issues into tiny, manageable steps. Instead of fix my finances, maybe it's spend 10 minutes looking at my bank statement or draft one email about that issue.
Turns vague fear into solvable tasks.
Exactly. It fosters a sense of control and competence, combating the paralysis anxiety often brings. Small steps build momentum.
Okay, and finally, 2 more physical ones linked to neuroplasticity.
Right. First, connecting with your sense of strength in the body. This is about posture. Stand tall, shoulders back and relaxed, feet grounded. Adopt a physically confident stance.
Body language affects mood.
Absolutely. Your posture sends signals to your brain about your capability. Second, reinforcing safety through daily routines. Consistency is calming.
Like having a set morning routine or bedtime ritual.
Yes. Predictability acts as an anchor for the nervous system. It reduces uncertainty and mental load, creating a stable framework that feels safe even when external events feel chaotic.
Wow. Across all of these, the body-mind connection is just so undeniable, isn't it?
It's profound, which really makes you think, doesn't it? How can we get better at listening to our body's subtle signals, those early whispers before anxiety shouts?
Using them as cues for intervention before things escalate.
Exactly. Tuning into the body's wisdom.
That question about listening to our bodies leads us perfectly into some of the science behind why these body-based techniques work so well. Let's talk about polyvagal theory.
Developed by Dr. Stephen Porges. It offers a really fascinating framework for understanding our nervous system's responses.
Now, we should probably mention it's a widely used model, especially in therapy. But some of the finer physiological details are still debated in the wider neuroscience world, right?
That's fair to say. It's perhaps best understood as a highly useful model or metaphor for understanding our responses to safety, danger, and connection, even if all the precise mechanisms are still being fully mapped out.
But as a practical model, it gives incredible insights.
It really does. It revolutionizes how we see the connection between our automatic nervous system and our ability to socially connect, regulate emotions, and feel safe. It links our biology to our behavior in a new way.
So it builds on the basic idea of the autonomic nervous system, the sympathetic fight or flight, and the parasympathetic rest and digest. But it adds more layers.
Exactly. It introduces a kind of hierarchy, often called the stress ladder, and highlights the crucial role of the vagus nerve. It outlines 3 main response states our nervous system uses based on perceived safety or threat.
Okay, what are the 3 levels?
At the top, the newest evolutionary state is social engagement. This is governed by the ventral vagal complex. This is our safe and social state.
When we feel connected, relaxed, open.
Yes. Your face is expressive, your voice has melody, you feel safe enough to connect with others. When this system is online, it acts like a vagal brake. calming the fight or flight system.
Okay, that's the ideal state. What if that doesn't feel safe enough?
Then the system shifts down the ladder to mobilization. This is the classic sympathetic fight or flight. Heart pounds, muscles tense, ready for action. Energy mobilizes to deal with the threat.
Got it. And if that doesn't work or isn't possible, if the threat feels overwhelming or inescapable?
The system can drop further down to the oldest, most primitive response, immobilization. This is governed by the dorsal vagal complex. This is the freeze or shutdown response.
Like playing dead. Dissociation, feeling numb.
Exactly. It's a state of collapse, detachment, an extreme survival mechanism when other options seem unavailable.
Wow. So the goal with anxiety relief or therapy is to strengthen our ability to move flexibly between these states, not get stuck.
Precisely. Chronic stress or trauma can mess with that flexibility. You might get stuck in fight or flight, or stuck off and shut down, or bounce erratically between them. Healing involves restoring that adaptive flexibility.
And how does our body know which state to be in? You mentioned neuroception.
Yes. This is the body's unconscious scanning system. It's constantly, automatically checking the environment, internal and external, for cues of safety or danger, way below our conscious awareness.
Like a subconscious radar.
Kind of. And if past experiences or ongoing stress have biased that neuroception towards danger, it keeps the nervous system defensive, fueling anxiety. So a key aim is to retrain that neuroception to more readily detect cues of safety.
And this is where things like creative arts therapies come in, using polyvagal principles.
They align beautifully because they naturally work with body awareness, sensory experience, and crucially, safe social connection or co-regulation.
Tell us about noticing and naming in this context.
It's about learning to identify your current autonomic state by tuning into body sensations. A therapist might ask, where do you feel that in your body? What's the quality, pressure, tingling, heat?
Becoming aware before trying to change anything.
Exactly. Understanding your body's signals first. There's a great example from art therapy with a client, Ian. He struggled to connect with emotions.
Hi.
The therapist asked him to work with clay with his eyes closed, focusing on pure tactile sensation. This uncertainty triggered agitation in him. He wanted instructions, felt overwhelmed.
So his system went into a stress response.
Yes, but the therapist, staying calm herself, providing co-regulation, gently guided him to just stay with the feeling of the clay. Notice the sensations, notice the emotions arising. Back pain, sadness, anger emerged.
And he could connect those feelings.
Gradually, yes. He connected them to past overwhelming experiences. Just paying attention to his senses with that safe support helped him understand his internal state better and feel more in control. It was profound self-discovery through the body.
That's amazing. So once you can notice and name, then you can move to learning to change your state.
Right. Using techniques to intentionally shift your state, like sensory activation, using calming music, looking at art, working with different textured materials like clay. The key is finding what works for you. One person's calm is another's agitation.
It's personal.
Very. Another approach is expression of emotions through creativity. Music making, singing, which naturally lengthens the exhale, calming the vagus nerve, dancing, drawing. These activate the social engagement system and can facilitate co-regulation if done with others.
There was another example, Cecilia in music therapy.
Yes. She came in agitated, angry. The therapist started with predictable percussion rhythms, providing structure. Then the therapist joined in, synchronizing that's co-regulation through rhythm.
Their nervous system starting to sync up.
Exactly. They moved to singing together, activating social engagement. A battle song emerged, reflecting her anger. But then the therapist skillfully guided the music towards calmer patterns.
Using the music to process the emotion.
Later, Cecilia chose the piano, improvised a sad melody. The therapist mirrored it. Through the music, she shifted from anger to sadness and could finally verbalize her feelings. The body and music led the way.
These examples really show the difference between self-regulation, calming ourselves, and co-regulation, right? Finding safety and calm with another person.
Absolutely. Our ability to self-regulate as adults is often built on a foundation of safe co-regulation experienced earlier in life.
And trauma can disrupt that foundation.
Severely. If co-regulation wasn't available or felt unsafe, so healing often involves rebuilding that capacity to feel regulated while feeling emotions, often initially with the help of a safe other, like a therapist.
So polyvagal theory, even as a model, gives us this powerful understanding of our biological need for safety and connection.
It really does, and how disruptions to that system fuel anxiety. It begs a huge question for all of us, doesn't it? How can we intentionally create more environments and relationships that foster co-regulation?
Supporting each other's nervous systems.
Yes, and in doing so, strengthening everyone's capacity for self-regulation. It's about individual and collective well-being.
A question that could really change how we approach things. #tag outro. Wow. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground today. From ancient Stoic wisdom to modern neuroscience, practical grounding tools, somatic release, neuroplasticity.
It's been quite a journey through the anxiety relief toolkit.
And I think the big takeaway, the key lesson weaving through all of it, it's really clear, isn't it? Anxiety, yes, it's uncomfortable, it can feel overwhelming, but it is absolutely not insurmountable.
Not at all. You are not powerless against it. You have this incredible, often untapped toolkit right inside you, in your body, your mind, even in how you interact with your environment.
Resources you can consciously use to find calm, to feel grounded.
And these aren't just quick fixes or temporary patches. They are pathways to building deep, genuine, lasting resilience. Skills that can serve you for life.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's a final thought we want to leave you with, something to maybe mull over. What if? What if the greatest, most unexpected tool for anxiety relief isn't hidden in some complex technique or ancient text, but in the simple, radical, courageous act of just acknowledging, with kindness and curiosity?
That you are, in this very moment, fundamentally all right now.
What if that acceptance right here, right now, is the most powerful antidote to the mind's constant projection of fear?
That simple noticing, okay, in this breath, I'm okay, can create so much space. It quiets that future tripping worry machine just for a moment, allows you to land in your present reality.
So our invitation to you is this. Pick just one thing, maybe two, something that resonated from our conversation today.
Don't try to do everything at once. Just pick one tool.
And experiment. Play with it. See how it feels. And then just notice. Notice the subtle shifts, the small changes in how you feel inside.
Be curious about your own experience. Until next time, keep diving deep into what truly matters for your well-being.